Hello, successful people. Welcome back to the Ioniq5 Success Channel. I'm DK.
And I'm Mo.
Thank you so much to our subscribers.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Are you a new EV owner that's confused by all of the charging apps?
If you are like us, please watch this video where we try to make sense of all the apps, tell you what apps you really need and which ones you don't.
Let's get charging.
So if you're a new EV owner like me and you got home like I did, you had to figure out how to charge your EV at home. Check out my previous video where I go through the basics of what you need to get started charging at home. But this video, I'm going to talk about what I discovered the first time I tried to figure out how I was going to charge my car away from home. And as I started looking at ChargePoint and EVgo and all of these other companies, I said, what the app? Why is it that you need 1,000 apps, it seems like, for you to be able to charge an EV? Right away, I just said, okay, this is ridiculous. And here's the way I understand it. So imagine if every gas station brand, Shell, Exxon, Quick Trip, right, Sunoco, imagine if all of these brands each had their own app, and every time you went to go and fill up with gas, you had to have a Shell app, an Exxon app, a Chevron app, a Quick Trip app, or you had to just deal with what happens if you use your credit card and you try to do that transaction without an app. In some cases, it can't be done. In other places, you might pay more, or it's some old crazy fee that you have to pay to do it. So I thought, okay, this is crazy. It can't be that I need an app at every single last charging station network in order to use their charging station. So here's what I figured out. A, you do need an app for every single last brand, or you need one app that would allow you to access various brands. Here's what I understand. You have brands that have their own charging station networks, like ChargePoint, like Electrify America, like Tesla, where that brand actually also has charging stations. In a lot of cases, like a large brand like a ChargePoint or an Electrify America, they also have agreements with other smaller brands so that if you have the ChargePoint app, you can also use that app to connect if you are at, let's say, Flow or EVgo or Ionic. So ChargePoint has its own brand of its own chargers, but they also have a network where you can use the ChargePoint app to use other brands of chargers. Other brands have the same thing. Now, not every brand has a network besides their own brand. And each brand's network may contain some of the same charging brands or others. So that is what happens if you get an app that belongs to a large charging network brand like ChargePoint. You can actually use some other charging partners' chargers without having to get the app. I had to repeat that because I had to say it over in my mind to make sure I got that straight. Besides the actual brands that have stations of their own brand and have a participating network, you also have charging networks that don't actually have their own charging stations. I think of this a lot like Zelle, where Zelle in and of itself isn't a bank, right? But what they do is allow you to transfer money back and forth between other banks. I think of these other charging apps that way, where there's no network of their own brand. These are networks like EV Connect. There's also an app I have called PlugShare, and I think there's an app I downloaded called Charge Hub. I'm gonna use PlugShare as an example because that's one that I actually have and I've used. So if you have the PlugShare app, not only can you locate charging stations of a variety of brands because it's finding them based on the search parameters you put in. And you could also plan trips in PlugShare, so it'll locate chargers between wherever your starting address is and your ending address is, right? The thing about it is you can also attach a method of payment to PlugShare. So for some participating networked chargers, you can actually pay for it using PlugShare. So when I bought the Ioniq5, 2025 Ioniq5 Limited, I have that Hyundai BlueLink app on my phone. There is a feature called Hyundai Pay, where if you go and use, and there, if you look, there is an actual list of which charging brands participate with Hyundai Pay. So now you know that if you have Hyundai Pay, you've linked a method of payment to that app. You can drive up to those charging brands and charge your car without having an app for those brands. However, the 2025 Ioniq5 belongs to an additional network called Plug and Charge. Plug and Charge is a feature where certain vehicles are equipped with technology for a particular brand's charger to recognize the car when you plug in that charger to that car's port. There is a video I'm also going to link you to where I rolled up to a Tesla Supercharging station. I didn't have to do anything because I registered for a plug-in charge, and all I had to do was take actually Mo did it. He took the plug out of its holder at the Tesla station, plugged it into the Ioniq5, and that was it. The car just started charging. Now, I do have a caveat to that not all Tesla charging stations will allow you to charge a non-Tesla vehicle. Because I have the My Hyundai app and I also have PlugShare, I'm able to read certain details about a particular Tesla charging station to see whether it accepts non-Tesla vehicles. And I'll get on the app and do a screen share so I can show you what I'm talking about. I only use two apps. I'm using the Hyundai app and I'm using the PlugShare app, and I'll tell you why. I like the fact that PlugShare has a high level of detail about the condition of a particular charger. So you could see if it's broken, you could see what's in use, and you can read details about other people's experiences when they use that charger because they have check-ins so that you could actually say, hey, I used this charger and this one was broken, or this is what happened. So I like the amount of information I can get from PlugShare. I do not use it to be able to pay for a charge. The only place where my credit card information is hooked up is in the Hyundai app and with Plug Charge. The only thing I've done so far to pay for a charge is use the Plug and Charge because I really like the fact that I don't have to push any buttons or do anything, that I could just plug the car in and it would automatically start. I realize that the amount of brands that participate with Plug Charge is relatively small, so that's not gonna work everywhere I go. I figure, hey, if I can't do that, and what I need to do is to use a couple of more features in the My Hyundai app through BlueLink, and I can pay that way, then I'm fine. There are certain brands like Electrify America that do not work with the Hyundai MyPay, and it does not work with Plug and Charge. So, oh well, I guess I'm not going there because I'm just not about to have a ton of apps on my phone. So that's the decision that I made. But I guess if I just added Electrify America, it would be my third app I'm using, so it wouldn't be too bad. But you get my point. One of the other considerations for what happens if you don't download the app for each brand is I've heard that there is a difference between what you're gonna pay for the electricity if you have the app than what it is you're gonna pay if you don't. Now for me, I use my home charger most of the time. It doesn't happen that often where I'm out in these streets and need to use a charger. So for me, it's okay if I pay a little bit extra because it doesn't happen often. But I just wanted for y'all to know that, so it's something for you to think about whether or not you might need to download a particular app. But to answer the general question I started with, what the app? You could choose to get all these apps if you want to, or you can do like me and try to keep that down to a minimum so you don't have all these EV charging apps. I hope that at some point in the future, there is one universal app that you could use for everything, kind of like a Zelle, where the amount of participant brands in the network is so large that I just need to have one thing and I'm done. Thank you for joining us. I hope this helps you navigate all the charging apps that are out there and let you know you don't need all of them and you can still charge your EV.
Please subscribe for more content about new home construction and model home tours in and around San Antonio.
And continue to follow us while we continue to turn our new construction house into a home, give you some travel tips, and continue to talk about our new Ioniq5 EV.
As always, until next time, be peaceful, stay prayerful, and count your blessings.